Welcome to a game between rtwfroody versus Jasper. This replay was requested by rtwfroody, hereby called Frody. Here we have Jasper in blue, and he started Spiderbots. And here we have rtwfroody. He started Shieldbots. And they both chose a Recon Commander. So yeah, it looks like he's gonna start with a somewhat economic start, making a convict first. While the commander is going here and making some wins. So yeah. And you can see Jasper making a solar collector, and that is the wrong choice on this map. Wins are much better. With a minimum of 0.7 energy, they can give all the way up to 2.5. So yeah, wins are much better on this map. It's like an average. What is the average again? That's what? Yeah, 1. Yeah, that's like an average of 1.5. So yeah, wins are just much better on this map, especially up here. Yeah. And yeah, Jasper's gonna focus on taking this terrain first. So these early bandits won't be able to punish that. But that's some good early scouting at least. Let's see if he reacts in time, or will he retreat? No, he's gonna ring into the turret and lose it. So yeah, that was the right decision by Jasper to have that ready. He also made a Lotus turret here. That's really defensive, like, yeah, you don't really, not against shield boss, you don't really, you can build it like here or something, but maybe he was expecting a pyro or fleece or something. So yeah, he didn't scout with fleece of his own. And let's see here, you have the factory on low priority, while you have your expanding cons on normal priority. That should be pretty good. And you're gonna build some solar collectors here in the middle. I feel that's not really necessary, like, you're better off just building more energy here in the base. And you wouldn't want to go for overdrive this early, and this is kind of a, this position is not that good against, if the enemy is coming here, they can destroy it quite easily. Yeah. Yeah, so at this point, yeah, this is heart rate. Like, maybe 4 bandits could have gone against this lone Lotus turret. That would have been a good choice. Here comes, yeah, like a redback. Yeah. So, yeah. And you might get cornered here, the bandits. Will it get cornered? No, it's gonna stay away by its own, I think. And what is this? It's making an eraser. At this point, I think you should be making more cons. Building a Lotus turret here, that's fine. Like, you want to protect these wins against, like, fleets and stuff. So that's fine. And it looks like, are you engaging here? That's not a good position. You're running in the bandits one by one. Like 4 with a very good positioning. Bandits, 4 bandits can probably kill a redback. But they need to, like, enter the range, like, all at the same time. So it's not usually what trade you want to go for. Oh, you try to look up here. Yeah. Like, at this point, like, if this redback was near, yeah, these units might be able to do something against the Lotus turret. But right now, they're not going to do much against this. So yeah, that's a bit of a waste. Yeah. Oh, and you switch into rogues. That's nice. Like, rogues, like, going rogue and bandit spam is pretty good against shields. Like, you threat the bandits kill fleas, while the rogues can kill the early redbacks. And before there's a lot of red recluses, yeah, you can kill them. And this is a weird choice to go for racers. Yes, like, yeah, I'm not sure why he's going for racer. That's weird. So yeah, you're trying to, like, yeah, at this point you should target this unit if you can. Oh, that's a close shot against the recluse. That was bad by Jasper. He lost that. Like, the thing is, as shield bots, Recluses basically counters the whole factory. Um, but rogues, they can give you real momentum. Like you saw, the Jasper wasn't paying attention there and he lost a recluse there, and he's gonna take a hit there. Like if the recluse takes 2 hits, it's gonna die. So if you aren't careful with your recluses, you can lose them really easily. So that's a thing to be worried about. And look how easy you can last pressure these redbacks. So yeah, this is good pressure, but you should always also be expanding behind this. Like right now, you're accessing metal, and your commander is idle. He could be here, taking this position, then taking this position, but just making some turrets here. And here you're running into this stinger, like this stinger was just built. So yeah, that's not. Yeah, you have to be careful how you engage stingers when especially when there's other units around as well. So yeah, you should have been retreated a long time ago. Yeah. So that's a waste. And you're still like you haven't made enough convicts basically. You should be making more like either caretakers or what do you call them? Yeah, placing these shield bolt plates. So yeah, your expansion could have been much better. Like you're still ahead in metal produced, but you're way behind in metal used. Like this is kind of bad. So you're mostly you're starting to fall behind, both in value killed and in total value, because you are not spending your metal, and that's critical in this stage. So yeah, pushing out just a few more convicts and like making a caretaker earlier would be like essential. But yeah, you can see here it's a thing as well. Like if you're engaging spider, you're gonna expect basically, yeah, like mostly redbacks and sometimes recluses, and yeah, you want to keep your bandits back for in case there's coming like for the time when you can run against recluses, or if they're coming fleas, then you need to protect the rogues. And here you're losing some. Like it could be a good idea to just have it on fight, maybe. Can be pretty annoying, like the convicts might get stuck up. But see, yeah, these rogues are doing fine by their own because there's nothing distracting them. There's no fleas or anything by Jasper. So these rogues are doing just fine. They're just preventing this expansion and killing stuff by their own. So yeah, that's really good. So yeah, but at this point, yeah, you're making these solar collectors. Oh, and you might, yeah, is this gonna survive? No, it's not gonna survive. So yeah, instead of making these solar collectors, you could have been made these turrets and been up here already with this convict. Instead, you're gonna go like at this point, you're barely making any metal from what you call it, overdrive. So I don't think it's a good idea to make solars in this position on this map generally. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing. Like, when the recluses try to skirmish against the rogues, they're gonna take some damage. And if you're not retreating them before they are killed, yeah, then rogues do pretty well against these. But here you walk with the Racketeer into the Stinger, and are you gonna keep walking into these rogues? Yeah, you should be careful against Stingers. You shouldn't be running into like both enemy recluses like this and the Stinger. That's just suicide with these few rogues. Like, it's possible to overpower Sting with a lot of rogues, but yeah, this is not enough, and you're also being, like, distracted by the recluses. Yeah, but you still have a good position overall. Like, if you just start spending on metal, you're gonna see that you're getting back into the game. So yeah, but you could have been up here, like, you let him get this expansion for free. You had a bandit here, it could have been just staying here, for example, or something, harass his position. Now, like, he was able to build his tree mixes first, and then the Stardust, so yeah. You could have been up here already. And you going for a Razor, I don't know why. This is not a gunship, it's just a Sparrow. You can morph them from radar, so yeah, you're expecting a gunship switch or an air switch? I don't know. Feels like a waste. And here comes this first Crave. And that's a hard unit to beat for shield bots. Like, arguably the best counter is the Racketeer, which can sort of stun it or disarm it rather. And this Stinger wasn't up when this crab was getting there, so yeah, now it's up there. So yeah, if it had been up when the crab come in, the crab would have taken a lot of damage and would have been easier to disarm. Now you're gonna need a lot of these Racketeers to disarm it. And at this point you need to retreat your commander, like you can jump up the hills or jump away, yeah. And this isn't for free, like making a spy like this is probably like 400 and plus the crave that's like 2000 metal. So that's a lot of metal investment to just have this position. If you have stingers, you're gonna slow him down. Like if this stinger would have been up, he would have taken a lot of damage and he would have been easier to disarm. So yeah. And you're pushing here, that's pretty good. But then you're gonna run into a crave and that's when your problem starts. Like, do you have enough DPS? No, you're too bunched up to kill this crave. Will it get the commander? No, it can jump away if he's just paying attention. Yeah, and he jumps away. Yeah, like you have to be really careful how much you bunch up. So now you lost this armor, you pushed well. But when you see a crave, you need to make a choice. Either you retreat and try to lose as few units as possible, or you go in and try to kill the crave. Like, you shouldn't, like, yeah, you should have retreated in that case. Or maybe if you had a really good spread, maybe you could have gotten it really low. But yeah, knowing when to retreat or advance against the crave is important. Yeah. So at this point, yeah, there's still like expansion here, but it's gonna get contested by these crabes. But you're still letting get this area free. Just like 2 recluses here, annoying him would be, yeah, that would be good for you. Yeah. That's the thing. Like right now, you're not pushing with these units. You're not pushing anywhere. Like. You want to be able to push in several areas. Losing this army was kind of bad because then you couldn't push here and let him get this area for free. Like just having some rogues here and pressuring this position would have been really helpful for you. These thugs in the mix, I'm not sure what surface what purpose do they have? Like they're gonna get the splash damage, or gonna damage the thug through the shields. And yeah, the splash damage is just gonna wreck these rogues. Yeah, and at this point, you really need to spread out here. This is really bad position. This is really bad. Just spread them out, spread them out, spread them out. Ow. You should still spread them out more. And that's a tricky thing. You need to focus different units. Like, see, you're almost getting this crab down, almost. But you're too spread up and you're using too many units. You spread out in a line like this. You had area, you have the safety of this stinger that you could use, but now this crab is just barely gonna survive. Yeah, that's the worst possible result for you. Like, you killed what? 1 redback and left the crab on 116 health. That's like the worst trade ever. And that was just because you didn't spread out. Like, just spreading out, that's the thing about controlling the map. This stinger provides an area which is kind of safe for you to move in. Like, the enemy can't easily punish that. So you can just spread them out inside this area, and this stinger covers the flanks. And then you have a good surround against this crave, and you can avoid these heavy losses when you're bunched up like this. Yeah, that's really important. So yeah, if you look at the trades, like the value killed, you got really far behind in that exchange. Yeah, you didn't, yeah. Very, very far back. And here comes this lone felon, and it's not gonna do much against a closed-up crave. Like, yeah. Would I recommend a felon? In general, I wouldn't recommend a felon against spiders. It's not. What is it good against? I mean, it's good against redbacks. If the enemy has pure redback spam, but they're probably not gonna have that. Hermits, the enemy is probably gonna make hermits. Like, the go-to units for shield boss is recluses, and they're gonna outrange that fellow. And even, yeah, craves are also gonna they can just soak up the damage, so yeah. So yeah, and if you want to use Racketeer, it's really important to keep them alive. Like, you can have like 2 or 3 and they will stun a Crave, but then if you don't keep line of sight to the targets, it's gonna get unstunned. Let's see how he attacks into this position here. Oh, he stops just outside of the range of the Stinger. Jasper is pretty good with his Crave micro. Yeah, at this point he has too many Crave for you to really contest. And you're losing more Racketeers, like, you can't afford them to lose them, really. That's the hard part, but like, if you're playing against Crave, you have to be really, like, precise. You have to know when the enemy Crave is low on health, and when the enemy, like, and when it is gonna get stunned. And you have to, like, the thing is, you want to outmaneuver these Craves. Like, if they're on a spire, you know where they are. The enemy has spent resources on them. They're gonna take a long time to break down these Stingers in forward positions. So yeah, that's time for you that you can buy and try to, like, push on the other side when the enemy has Craves up. Like, you probably want to avoid the first Crave and hope the enemy, like, overcommits, like they go into Stinger range. Or they, like, yeah, they go too far and you can surround them with, like, rogues or bandits. So yeah. Or maybe you can have an easy time, like, following them with Racketeers. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. Like, the first few Craves that hit the field, you probably want to try to counter with rogues. Like, you want to be up in their face. Maybe you even want to meet the Crave, like it's coming down here. And then you meet it here at this position before it can advance to further. Then the enemy is gonna have to, like, either gonna have to stand there and take it, or they're gonna have to make a spire there. And then you can, like, yeah, every time, like, you have to consider how you engage it. Like, if it's alone like this, yeah, you can easily beat it theoretically with cost in rogues if you just get a good spread. The problem is getting a good spread if it's flanking you with, like, recluses or redbacks. So yeah. And the shields, I mean, like, if the enemy's gonna build a spire to hit this thing on the hill, it's already be worth it to build in this situation. This position on the head iron, no. You don't want a shield here. Like, what it's gonna do? You have one Lotus here that can potentially fight back, and it's gonna buy you a few seconds before it's get run over, and it could just be run over with just a few of these. Yeah, like recluses or redbacks. So yeah, that's a bad position. This is an okay position to put a shield in. Like, if the enemy want to deal with this Stinger, they're first gonna have to go here, build a high spire, and start shooting at the Stinger. And then you can probably, even if it gets through the shield, you can probably repair the Stinger while the shield is down for a little. So yeah, this shield position is okay against Crave, I would say. But yeah, in general, you don't want to have to be in a situation where you are building shields against Craves. You want to be out pushing before they get into these positions even. So yeah. Yeah, like, load them, like, 1 or 2 Craves, you can, like, push back with rogues and try to avoid losses. Like, you want to see if the enemy overcommits with the Crave. Otherwise you can go for Racketeers. But otherwise you can also, like, consider a factory switch. Lico, it's kind of expensive counter. Like, you might be able to throw it down from a cliff, and you can throw it into a Stinger. Like, if it's sitting right here, like next to the Stinger, you hit it with Licho, and it gets thrown at you, and you can disarm it, and the Stinger's gonna hit it, and maybe bandits even. Yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Thug so much against spiders in most situations. Yeah, and not felons either. Like, recluses are your biggest problem, and Craves are a really big problem as well. So yeah. So what would you do? Like, what have you for alternatives to go against Craves? You can go gunships, try to kidnap these. That's pretty fun, actually. Like, you go gunships to make a heavy transport, and then you try to transport them if there's not AA nearby. Let's see here at your first Lico. and it throws down the crab, and it takes quite a bit of damage. Like if you had your army here, yeah, maybe you could have punished it more, but yeah, now it's gonna get covered by these other crabs. And here comes, yeah, Jasper's air army, but yeah, you basically lost at this point. But yeah, when crabs cover each other like this, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, like you can go for a trapdoor to like put down the hills. What else can you do? You can make transport, heavy transport, and try to nap them while they're on the hill. Licos, it's a bit expensive. Like, yeah, it can kind of work if you throw them into your defenses and into your units. Um, what else are good? Oh, and yeah, um, if a really good counter is jump bots with a juggernaut, for example. You can make a juggernaut and just pull it down from any hill. It's a really good counter. Um, what else is a good counter? Yeah, like I wouldn't recommend. Firewalker can be annoying. Like Firewalking is generally pretty good against spiders. Like you can burn recluses if the enemy has a lot of recluses, and then you can like if you target the crab before is if it's not on a high spire, every time it's moving, it's gonna take quite a bit of damage. So you're gonna like prevent it from moving, or like you're gonna like pin it down. Maybe if it's not on a hill, you can get it with the jacks even. But yeah. Yeah, so when you're playing shields against spiders, you really want to like push them hard where they don't have a creep, and you want to like hit that timing window before they have too many recluses. In this game, Jasper didn't really go for a lot of recluses, and yeah, you were kind of even in the beginning. So then you could kind of like you could push the enemy when he was going for yes when he had few recluses. You could push the enemy, and you were basically ahead in metal produce most of the game. Like yeah, your metal income was a bit higher, and if you had expanding even further and faster, yeah, you would be more economically ahead. And that economy, like you can push with rogues and bandits pretty well against spiders. And then when they're getting out the critical number of recluses, or if they get a crab, you might want to think about a switch. Like if they have a lot of recluses, yeah, you can go for a firewalker. It's really good against recluser. And if they have crabs, like one or two crabs, yeah, maybe you should make a juggernaut. It's a good unit to make against spiders. So going jump bots as a fact switch is a pretty good choice. But early on, I would recommend you like push the enemy with yeah, you push the enemy with bandits and rogues. It's a pretty good like push strategy. And then you can usually out expand the spider player. It depends on how well you do it. Yeah, but those are my tips. So yeah, good luck and have fun.